Right, Scott, there's something that you really bring a lot of wealth to the table on, and that is your perspective of the Uniform Code of Military Justice and military law as a civilian employee, right?
Correct.
So we have situations that arise where we've got soldiers that supervisors are civilians, or we've got soldiers or airmen who supervise civilians, right? And the nature of that relationship oftentimes results in some type of investigation from a toxic work environment or some type of adverse action because, the civilian was offended at something that the soldier or the airman may have said, that often gives rise to some type of action under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. What are your thoughts about the relationship between civilians and military personnel in the Army or in the other services?
Yeah, it can be a very complex relationship. And also, we have to remember that you'll have overseas, we'll have not just GS civilians, you have contractors, and you also have local national employees as well. And then you have military. It could be military from a combination. Army, Air Force is very typical here in Poland. So it's quite a mix, and everyone has sort of a different set of rules to some degree that they go by. So it can create quite a complicated, complex type of relationship in the workplace.
Right, and I think it's essential that any lawyer that is hired by somebody who's facing adverse action, who's dealt with civilians, needs to hire a team that understands that civilian's perspective. So we're able to respond more appropriately than just a green suitor and a green suitor and a green suitor who doesn't even consider the civilian's perspective.
That's correct. And that's not the reality of the environment that we're in here.
Right. Because let's face it, right? The culture in the civilian corps versus the Army Corps or the Air Force or the Marines is different. And when they interact, even though they're in the same branch, it's still a different set of rules and regulations culturally that governs that behavior.
That's correct. And that can create friction within that organization just because of the different sets of rules and regulations that are applied to the different groups of people. That in and of itself can create a friction.
Right. And so understanding the nature of that relationship between a civilian and a service member is important for a fair, effective, and persuasive representation. And that's something that we bring to the table at the Law Office of William Helixon. It also applies in evaluations, right? Sometimes you have a rater or somebody who's influencing your evaluation who is a civilian over a military person. And while they may not sign that evaluation, they certainly have a lot of influence on it. And understanding that culture is important when we get involved legally so that we can understand and address those issues that might otherwise be overlooked by another law firm.
That's correct, Paul.
We're the Law Office of William Helixon. We are your warrior advocates. You defend the nation. We defend you.